Welcome back to the table, everyone. Today, Ryan and I have an unboxing. Guess what we're unboxing? I bet it's this box right here.
So this is Wonderlands War. This is the newest game from Skybound Games and Druid City. This is Manny Tremblay art. This guy is the guy that did all the art for the Dice Throne games, which is absolutely fantastic. He does graphic novels, cartoons. He does a bunch of stuff. He has this amazing art style, and you're going to see it right here on the box. This game actually was birthed out of an illustration he did, which is really cool. And they just built this game around his concept of what Alice in Wonderland would look like. And I'll tell you what, gameplay aside, just looking at the artwork for this game is an immediate sell for me.
Oh, for sure. And it's like, whether you like Alice in Wonderland or not, his art, particularly with this property, I think, it has that playful cartoon, but also dark and creepy going on at the same time.
Well, look, you can see right on the cover here, this is the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition that we're unboxing. This Cheshire Cat, and you might not really be able to tell, but it's like Spock glossed and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well,
on the top here, it's really well done.
It's one thing that Druid City and Skybound has always done, and James Hudson, I think, can be the root of why this happens. The production values of all their games are ridiculous.
Yeah, you look at like Sorcerer's City, Tidal Blades,
that's why we're so excited to open this. And it is a big, deep box, so this might take a minute. However, it's not going to take too long, because they have those slits and those slots in the sides.
I do love those slots.
So it lets the box come off a little bit easier.
All right, so what do we got? Obviously,
this is actually, I read this. Check that out.
Make sure. Oh, it's like a digital rule book, so they can edit it and make updates. That's smart.
And some of you might go, oh, well, they should have got the rule book right in the first place.
Oh, that never happens.
That never happens. Well, so it's nice that people are like kind of embracing that living rule book sort of concept.
Oh, so here, well, get this rule book out of the. Okay,
no, I want to talk about this.
But you're hiding the best part.
This is not a bad part. Feel this paper.
Okay.
That is definitely a thicker stock paper than most rule books of this size. And I want to make sure that it doesn't go unnoticed because it...
Well, it's a really well laid out rule book too.
Oh, yeah.
It's very colorful.
It's very good. And
lots of pictures, which I like to see.
Lots of examples. This thing is really...
this is a really good rule book.
Yeah. I had played the game, and it's been a while.
Oh, I've played the game multiple times, honestly.
I think Ryan had his first experience of several years ago.
Well, it was a very different game, but yes, I played a very early prototype of what would become Wonderlands War, and I've gotten to see all of the revisions and changes they made.
Yeah, it was completely different at first.
Well, it was. Let's say that they...
Like two phases of, two big phases.
It was a very different game, and what they ended up with here at the end, I think is the best version of it that I've ever played.
Yeah, so, when I first had a chance to play sort of the mostly finished version when we did a preview of this a while ago, I think it's mostly like that version of the game still, although I think it still underwent some changes.
Oh, yeah.
This, at its heart, is a bag builder, kind of Quacks of Quedlinburg.
A little bit.
Well,
there was inspiration definitely from Quacks.
Yeah, for sure.
It was like a bolt of inspiration there.
What it does with the bag building is far more significant than what you do in Quacks. But speaking of the bag building, check this out.
I love these.
So now, truth be told, this was not only just the deluxe version, but this also included the add-ons. And the add-ons here were these small. These are like poker chip-esque, but they're small. You know, they're
little like mini poker chips.
Yeah, they're little mini poker chips.
Like they have that
all
poker
the things.
chip.
They replace most, if not all, of the cardboard in the game, and this is what you're going to be putting in your bags and drawing out during the game.
Look at that! They write on the lid. They have printed all where everything should go. I'll be honest. You can play the retail version, and you can get the retail version, and it'll be great. But having these chips and just that tactile feeling of like filling your bag with these chips and clanking them around.
Speaking of the bags, I've got these wrapped around some things here. These also are part of either the deluxe version or maybe another add-on. There are just normal black bags that come with the retail edition, but you've got these really not. I mean, this is good material. Like this is not like. You know,
if that had ripped, can you imagine?
That would have been bad. We'd have restarted this video.
David doesn't know his own. Yeah, these are really nice.
It's really good material. And do the Ryan hand test.
The Ryan hand test?
Yeah, well, you got a bigger hand than me. You can put your hand in here.
I do have a bigger. Didn't know that was a test.
That sounds silly, but if you've ever played a board game where you have a bag full of things and you can barely get your fingers in it to get the stuff out, you'll know what I'm talking about. Oh, just listen to that. Just listen to that.
It's such a satisfying sound. I love bag building.
Next up, you're going to see some stuff that some of which I think is in the retail version, some of which is not.
These are minis for all the...
I believe that these minis right here, which are effectively sort of your structures.
Oh, these are like your claim markers for when you're claiming territories.
When you
each one of the characters. We didn't say this, of course, But if you didn't notice from the bags, like this one features Alice herself. You are playing as several of the different characters from
Queen of
Alice in
Hearts,
Wonderland.
Mad Hatter,
Queen of Hearts,
Cheshire
you got
Cat.
Mad Hatter down here.
The Jabberwock.
The Jabberwock.
Probably the lesser known of the...
I don't know. He's pretty famous. That must be Cheshire Cat.
That is Cheshire Cat. And this is the Mad Hatter right here.
Yeah, what is the blue? What am I missing?
That's Alice.
Oh, Alice, duh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there's those, and then the deluxe version did come with these miniatures. And these are not only for your player characters, which where is Alice? She's somewhere here.
I think right here,
She's
right? With the sword, right?
You've got Alice here. You've got all the player characters, but you've also got the Wonderlandians.
Yeah.
The game has Wonderlandians that you can acquire that you can put into your territories for control that have special powers.
There's cards for them for the different Wonderlandians. And
yeah, we'll show you that art in a sec.
And each one of them is a different poker chip. So when you're building out your game board, you're using different sets of these potential Wonderlandians, and you're using
allies.
Allies, and you can have different ally cards as well. So you're going to have a different experience every time. You're going to be using different chips, and you're going to be upgrading these over the course of the game, which is interesting too, because each one of these Wonderlandians has like levels that you can kind of level up.
I'm going to get to this in a second.
But
let's just get the board out of the way, mainly because we won't be able to show it all at once.
It's a big board.
It's massive. The game has a footprint for sure. You can't even see me at this point.
Yeah, let's hold it up. Let's see how big. Show how big this is. I can almost hide behind this board.
It's a big
this thing
board.
Is huge.
I'm back here still, by the way.
David hasn't left.
This is what it looks like. It's one of the most colorful things you'll see.
Well, and I love the entire game revolves around this right here. This is
literally
revolves. You're moving like as a rondelle around the tea party that the Mad Hatter is throwing.
To basically draft cards that are going to do a number of things. This is how you're going to acquire the Wonderlandians. It's going to be how you get allies, but also it's going to be how you put a lot of your forces sort of out into these areas.
Yeah, you're putting people in these chairs and then sending units out to control these areas. Of course, these areas again inspired by Alice in Wonderland. And this is the area control part of the game where you're trying to score points by controlling these areas each round. Here's all we got cards in there, right?
Yeah, these are the player sheets.
Oh, there are? Okay, here's all the player sheets. So yeah, Mad Hatter. Oh, these are really thick too. I haven't seen the final production of this.
Yeah.
So you got the Mad Hatter, and you'll see here, of course, all of their abilities and all of their upgradable. So as you're upgrading chips, you're actually taking certain chips and placing them on these circles to upgrade your characters and give them special abilities. Some of which you're going to unlock here on the side as well. So every character is very different in their powers, their set of starting chips, and also how and what upgrades they get over the course of any one given game.
Yeah, that character progression is really cool. My son's...
Look at that Queen of Hearts. That's so cool.
Yeah, all the art is fantastic. We'll show you a little bit more art with some photos. But here are the cards we were talking about that are going to go around the table. There's 3 rounds in the game, and there's a set of cards for each round. But these are the different icons that are going to do different things. But those aren't the really cool cards. The really cool cards are not these either. Although these are cards. So this wasn't in the game when we originally played. We have content up on the channel of us playing the game. We have a how to play. I don't believe this was in there.
No, I don't think this is new.
And I'm not going to take credit, but I do know that we had a conversation about this mechanic while we played. You could bet on the situations taking place. So if you're not in a territory, you're able to go, oh, I think Alice is going to win this one. And everyone puts that bet down. And you're able to get a little something, even when a territory is being resolved, that you're not in.
It makes it a little more interactive.
It keeps everyone engaged at the table a little bit more. So basically, everyone has a deck of cards that has every other character except for their own. And then there's these quest cards. The quest cards are basically objectives that you can achieve throughout the game and take. Also, if you're playing, don't ignore these points. They can be fairly significant
points, yeah.
Here you've got these little silicon packets.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I'm pointing these out because I am now leaving these in my games.
Yes, that's good advice. Anyone that ever throws these away, don't. They're in there for a reason.
Leave a couple in there. It keeps the cardboard from warping when you put it on the table and stuff a little bit better. Here are the Wonderlandian cards. I think, these are all Oh no, there's some ally cards too. I'll let you do the allies.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I've seen all of these allies. I'm looking at them. I'm like way more interested. These are really cool though. Like you have allies specific to a lot of these characters.
There's 4 different sets of the same allies.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is when we played, I don't think they had 4 different.
I don't think they did. They may have had 2. I think it was
2.
like
double-sided,
so you could have 2 powers. 4 powers is better. So you are having a vastly different game.
Yeah, for sure. And then here are the Wonderlandian cards. These have like the White Rabbit, the Caterpillar. These are going to be specific characters that aren't necessarily
Tweedledee and Tweedledum,
player
right?
characters, but they are characters that have very specific strengths that when you get them, you're able to put them in a territory, and they're going to have a very unique effect.
Yeah,
that
and they have
unlike everyone.
miniatures, right?
And they have miniatures. Well, not always.
Not all of them.
Some of the
them don't go on
Wonderlands
the
have
board.
miniatures. Some of them have chips. They're
Yeah,
basically
that's right.
two different types of Wonderlandians. But, I mean, you can see there are a bunch here. And I think even some, oh no, that's a different one. The March Hare and the White
some
Rabbit.
of them just do special things. Some of them don't even go.
Yeah, the Tweedles, I remember having them. That's
Yep, the Tweedles, yep.
And then these are Wonderlandians that are chips, like the Amulet of the Duchess, the Crown of the Knave. Most of the character ones are miniatures, I believe, and then obviously these objects that do have an effect are chips. But yeah, I love Manny Tremblay's art.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
In general. So to see it in this game and applied to Alice in Wonderland is really cool.
And then all the player aids, you've got player aids for your turn. There are two phases of the game. You have your Tea Party phase on one side of the card and your war phase on the other. So you go back and forth to where you're actually basically drafting with the rondelle and then going to war afterwards. And you saw below that, you probably saw all
cardboard.
the cardboard. So if you don't want to use the chits, or if you didn't get the extra component chits here, you can still, everything is still in the game. You just use cardboard chits like you do with Quacks of Quedlinburg. I don't think it's much different at all.
No.
And then, of course, you're going to see all your pieces. These are the pieces that are actually going to go out on the board.
In those,
all your little soldiers.
I don't know whether or not these pieces are all in both the retail and the deluxe, but I think they are.
Yeah,
I think they are.
Those are the main board game pieces.
Well, it's interesting. A big difference between the version we played before and this one is the pieces are uniquely shaped. So,
that's true. The soldier pieces?
These pieces here look differently. That's for the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, nice.
Whereas when we played, it was just a meeple.
Well, yeah, it was a
meeple.
prototype, so I like seeing that.
So one other thing I wanted to point out, well, two things. That cardboard Ryan mentioned.
Yeah.
Another silly little thing, but the first time I saw it was from another Druid City game. All the cardboard had a sort of thumb hole, finger hole on them.
Oh, yeah.
So that when they're in the bottom of the box, you don't have to tilt the box and flip it out. You can just pull the cardboard out.
Nice little added touch.
Nice little touch for sure. But then the last thing I wanted to point out is this crazy, crazy sheet here. This is a massive flowchart that I think a lot of people would look at and go, whoa, that's a lot to do in a game. And it looks a little overwhelming. And I'm not going to lie, this is a pretty intimidating looking flowchart, but I will tell you this. This is one of those things where you can follow through step by step, and it is beautifully sort of runs you through both the Tea Party phase and the warring phase, or the waging war phase.
Yeah, I mean, it's not meant to teach you the game, but it is meant to be somebody that's played the game before. You know how you always like, oh, did I forget any important rules? Well, if you follow through this, you're not going to forget any important rules.
Yeah.
Because it literally takes you step by step, and you don't need to worry about how overwhelming it looks, because it's just asking you one question at a time.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the answer, then you can go back to the rule book, look up that section, and realize, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done.
On the flip side, I think this also speaks to really how much depth this game has in terms of how it's structured. This is not a simple, like, pulling chips out of a bag and going, oh, I lost. You know, there's a little more to it than that.
There's a lot. There's a lot of mitigation. There's a lot of different ways you can use those chips. There's a lot of decisions to be made as to like where you're assigning your troops, because different areas of the board are going to be worth different values, and some battles are going to score you more points than others. There is quite a bit of depth. I don't want to say that it's like overly complex.
No, it's not, but it is.
Because it's actually pretty easy to learn.
I've said it when we played the prototype. I'll say it again now. I believe this game to be kind of a child of Quacks of Quedlinburg type gameplay, and then any sort of area control game that you might see from even like a CMON type company, where you have these different areas, you're trying to build up your forces in those areas. It's all just driven by the Quacks of Quedlinburg type mechanics.
And we've seen bag building before in push your luck elements as a whole game. Like for Quacks, that's the game.
Right.
Seeing that as a mechanic in a much bigger game, I liked it. It's like when we had deck building games originally were just deck building.
And then Clank.
And then Clank added
and
in,
more,
and more. And I hope to see that trend with bag building, because I really, really enjoy that tactile feel of drawing things out of a bag.
Yeah, and as always, like the chip box, I have to show this too, because I just want to reinforce it for all publishers. Every time you can show, here's where stuff goes, please do it. We just did another unboxing recently where they really went out of their way to show where every single thing went. Awesome.
Yeah.
Bravo. So keep doing that. But this is all the things you're going to get in the deluxe version with upgrades of Wonderlands War. I can't wait to get this finished version to the table.
Yeah, me too.
It's been 2 years since I played
it's been
this.
since pre-pandemic that we got a chance to actually be all together and playing some prototypes.
And knowing what it was going to ultimately look like, and to see that they really, honestly, I think they delivered.
Oh, they
100%. And I say that kind of with a wink and a nod because
they did deliver.
Everyone's finally delivering this year a lot of things, and I know this is kind of a labor of love getting it out.
They delivered on the expectation.
Yes.
For what Wonderlands
That's what I
War.
meant.
This might be. I'm not a big fan of Alice in Wonderland, honestly. But this has captured me, and I mean that's a big part of that is Manny's interpretation of the characters.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, if you have any questions about it, I can't imagine you do, but if you do, put them in the comments below and we'll see what we can do. Until next time though, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then. Congratulations, you got to the end of one of our videos. Now, if you want more practice, just click on the video over here. It's another video. You might not have seen it yet, so click on it. If you don't want to do that, at least click on the subscription button below. That always helps us. And if you want notifications, please ring that bell.